everyone, welcome to TryRight. This is Pack 365, myself Srija. Today you are going to learn about the muscles of the upper limb and also about the connective tissue structures of the musculoskeletal system. So first, let's talk about the muscles of the upper limb. So what are the muscles of the upper limb? Shoulder. It consists of upper limb is nothing but it consists of a shoulder, arm muscles and also the forearm muscles. So rotator cuff muscles. So a group of 4 small but important muscles that stabilize the shoulder joint. So you have to use the mnemonic SITS, nothing but S for supraspinatus, I for infraspinatus, T for teres minor and S for subscapularis. So supraspinatus, it is the action of the abduction. So what does it do? It abducts the arm. So for the first 15 degrees. So it helps to lift the arm away from the body. Whereas infraspinatus, it helps in the external rotation of the shoulder. Teres minor, it helps in the external rotation similar to the infraspinatus. It is the external rotation. And the last one, the subscapularis, its action is for the internal rotation of the arm. So these 4, they together called as the rotator cuff muscles, nothing but SITS. So what is the main function of the rotator cuff? It stabilizes the shoulder joint, especially during the movement. So it holds the head of the humerus tightly into the glenoid cavity. You can clearly see the rotator cuff muscles in the picture. This is the anterior view of the rotator cuff muscle and this is the posterior view of the rotator cuff muscle. In both of the views, you can find the 4 muscles over here. So next, arm muscles. So what are the anterior arm muscles? They are also called as the flexors. So these muscles, they bend the elbow and shoulder. They flex over the elbow and shoulder. Because of this, they are called as the flexors. So what are the muscles under the anterior arm? So biceps brachii. So what is biceps brachii? It flexes the elbow. The main function is it flexes the elbow. It also supinates the forearm. Nothing but it turns the palm upward direction. So it also has a long head and also the short head. You can clearly see in the picture here. Biceps brachii, the long head. Here the red color one to the right side, and to the left side you can see the biceps brachii, short head. So it has both the heads. And next muscle is brachialis muscle. So this is the main and strongest elbow flexor. It lies deep to the biceps. It works regardless of the hand position. So next is coracobrachialis. So this flexes the shoulder joint. It helps to bring the arm forward. It also originates from the coracoid process. So in this slide, you have to remember the main thing about the rotator cuff muscle. You can have the trick named SITS so that you can remember all the muscles. So this is the anterior arm muscles. Coming to the posterior arm muscles. So you have the triceps brachii muscle, which is a main elbow or major elbow extensor, nothing but it straightens the elbow. So it has 3 heads, the long head, lateral head and also the medial head, which is shown in the image at the right side. So this is powerful for pushing the movements. Okay. And next is anconeus. Anconeus muscle, it is a small muscle near the elbow. You can find it near the elbow. So what does it do? It assists the triceps in the elbow extension. So it also stabilizes the elbow joint. So what are forearm muscles? So the forearm muscles, they control the wrist and also the finger movements. So they are divided into 2 main groups. One is the flexor group, another is the extensor group. So flexor group, this is the anterior compartment and this is located on the front of the forearm. So what is the function of the flexor group? Flexion between the fingers and wrist. So these are the flexors which are present in the front side. For example, the flexor carpi radialis, which flexes the wrist and also which abducts the wrist, and the flexor carpi ulnaris, it flexes the wrist and also adducts the wrist. Whereas the flexor digitorum, it flexes the fingers, and also the pronator teres, it pronates the forearm, nothing but it moves the palm downward direction. So the extensor group is the posterior compartment. It is located on the back of the forearm. What is the function of extensor group? Extension of the wrist and fingers. Extensors in the back are present at the posterior compartment. So what are the examples of the extensor group? Extensor digitorum, which extends the fingers. Extensor carpi radialis, which extends the wrist. Whereas extensor carpi ulnaris, it also extends and both abducts the wrist. So these are the muscles of the forearm. So next, coming to the hand muscles. So hand muscles, they allow the fine and precise movements. So how many hand muscles are there? 4 types. Tenar muscles, hypotenar muscles, interossei and lubricals. So what is tenar muscles? They located at the thumb base. So these control the thumb movements like opposition, flexion and also abduction. Whereas hypotenar muscles, they located at the little finger side. They also control the little finger movements. Whereas interossei muscle, it is found between the metacarpal bones. So what does it do? The dorsal interossei, it abduct the fingers, that is a dorsal abduct. Whereas the palmar interossei, it adduct the fingers, that is the palmar abduct. Okay, so this is about the 3 muscles, and the last one is lumbricals. So what does this lumbricals do? These are very much important, the most important one for the hand function. So it has the flex MCP joint and also extend IP joints. So this flex MCP joint, these are present at the knuckles, whereas this extend IP joints, these are present at the finger joints. So this creates the classic writing position of the fingers. So what are the quick memory aids? Flexors in front. Flexors are always present in the front and extensors are always present in the back. So easy way to remember the forearm muscle layout is DAB dab and PAD pad. So DAB for the dorsal interossei is nothing but for the abduction, and pad PAD for palmar interossei, that is for abduction. So triceps equals to tri, nothing but 3 heads for elbow extension. So these are the muscles of hand and forearm. So next, coming to the muscles of lower limb. So lower limb muscles, they help in standing, walking, running, jumping and also for maintaining balance. So what are hip and gluteal muscles? So these muscles, they act mainly on the hip joint. So they are named as the hip muscles. So they coming to gluteus maximus muscle. So what is the main action of this muscle? It extends the hip. It is used when standing up from sitting, climbing stairs and also the running. Whereas the gluteus medius and gluteus minimus muscle, the main action of this muscles is they abduct the hip, that is they move the leg away from the midline. They also stabilize the pelvis during the walking. So what is the injury over here? Trendelenburg gait, it is called as. Okay. And then iliopsoas. It is the main hip flexor muscle. It is a combination of a psoas major plus iliacus muscle. So it is the main hip flexor. It also helps to lift the leg while walking. And the next muscle is the tensor fasciae lati. It stabilizes the pelvis. It works with the iliotibial band. It also helps with the hip abduction and also the internal rotation. So piriformis and other rotators, they provide the lateral rotation of the hip. They are also the important for stability and posture. The sciatic nerve, they may pass close, but the piriformis syndrome. Okay. So what are the thigh muscles? So thigh muscles, again they are divided into anterior and posterior. So anterior thigh extensors. So these muscles, they are mainly extends the knee. So in this picture, you can see a clear hip and gluteal muscles. What I have explained you before itself, the gluteus maximus muscle, iliotibial band, you can find everything and each and every muscle over here. Just have a look. And then thigh muscles. These muscles mainly extend the knee So what are they? The quadriceps femoris muscle group. So these are the four muscles: the rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, vastus intermedius. So you can also find this quadriceps in this picture. So what does they do? What is the main function of this quadriceps femoris group muscles? Knee extension. So this rectus femoris, it flexes the hip and also it extends the knee. So only quad muscle, this is the only quad muscle which is crossing the hip. Whereas vastus lateralis, it is present at the lateral or outer part of the thigh. So this is a strong knee extensor. So whereas vastus medialis, it's a medial side of the thigh. So what does it do? It helps to stabilize the patella, the very much important clinically. So vastus intermedius, it is very deep to rectus femoris. It is nothing but a powerful knee extensor. So overall function is the knee extension. So this is used in kicking, standing up, walking and also running. And then medial thigh. You have seen about the anterior thigh part. Now you can see the medial thigh. Here is a picture of the medial thigh. And these muscles, they bring the leg towards the midline, nothing but the hip adduction. So what are the main adductor muscles? Adductor longus, adductor magnus, adductor brevis and also gracilis. This is the adductor longus in the picture and adductor magnus, gracilis and adductor brevis. So what is the function? What is the main function for medial thigh muscles? Hip adduction. The name itself, it is also called as the adductors because they helps in the hip adduction. So these are used when crossing the legs, stabilizing the thigh while walking. So this is about the medial thigh. So next, coming to the posterior thigh, these are also called as flexors, nothing but the hamstrings. So what are hamstrings? Hamstrings are located at the back of the thigh. So they cross both the hip and knee joints. So what are the muscles in the hamstring group? They are the biceps femoris, they are the semitendinosus and semimembranosus. So what is a biceps femoris? It has both long head plus a short head. It is present on the lateral side of the thigh. Semitendinosus, it is more superficial and it is a long tendon, whereas semimembranosus, it is a deeper and flatter. So what are the functions of these posterior thigh flexors? A knee flexion, nothing but a knee flexion, it bends the knee, and also the hip extension, it moves thigh backward. So it is much important while running, jumping and also getting up from sitting. So then what are the leg muscles? Coming to the leg muscles, the anterior compartment. So these muscles, they act mainly on the ankle and toes. So what is the first muscle? Tibialis anterior. So this is located on the front of the chin. So what is the main function? It's a dorsiflexion, nothing but lifting the foot upward. It also helps to invert the foot. So extensor digitorum longus, it runs along the anterior leg. What is the function? It extends the toes, it lifts them upward. So it also assists in the dorsiflexion. So this is about the anterior leg muscle. You can clearly see here in the picture, semitendinosus muscle, semimembranosus muscle, the biceps femoris. I said you that this biceps femoris has both the long head and short head. It is clearly shown in the picture. And then posterior leg muscles. So what are posterior leg muscles? So these muscles are also called as calf muscles. So these are responsible for mainly for plantar flexion, nothing but pointing the foot downward. So which is essential for walking, running and standing on the tiptoes. So what are the superficial muscles here? You have both superficial and also the deep muscles. So superficial muscles are the gastrocnemius. So gastrocnemius is a large visible calf muscle. So it has both two heads. One is medial, one is lateral. So what is the main function of gastrocnemius muscle? It's a plantar flexion. For example, tiptoe movement. It also helps in the knee flexion because it crosses the knee joint. And then coming to soleus, it helps in posture. So it is very important for posture because it maintains the standing balance. Okay. It maintains the standing balance. So this lies deep to the gastrocnemius muscle. So what is the main function? plantar flexion, and also the posterior muscle. So coming to deep posterior leg muscles. So this deep posterior leg muscles, they help to control the foot, toes, and also they support the arch. So tibialis posterior muscle, this is the main muscle for foot inversion. It also supports the medial longitudinal arch. So this is the muscle which is important in walking and also the balance. Okay. You can see this tibialis posterior within the picture over here, and also flexor digitorum longus. So this flexor digitorum longus, it has toes 2 to 5. So what does it do? They helps with gripping the ground while walking. So it also assists in plantar flexion. So this is about the posterior leg muscles. So coming to lateral leg muscles, you have the fibularis longus and brevis. So these are located on the outer side of the lower leg. You can clearly see in the picture, they are present on the lower leg, outer side of the lower leg. So what is the function? It is the aversion of food, nothing but turning the sole outward. And also this is important for ankle stability and also for preventing the ankle sprains. Okay. So this is about the muscles of leg. Now next going into the muscles of foot. Foot muscles are also nothing called as intrinsic foot muscles. So these are the small muscles within the foot. So what are the functions of the foot muscles? They help in the toe movement, they maintain the foot arches, and they provide the stability during walking and standing. So what are the main examples for the foot muscles? Flexor hallucis brevis and also the interossei and lumbricals. So this flexor hallucis brevis, it flexes the big toe, whereas interossei, it helps in toe abduction and adduction, whereas lumbricals, they flex MTP joints and to extend the IP joints. So this is about the muscles of the human body. Now let's discuss about the connective tissue structures. So what is a connective tissue? A connective tissue is a support system of the body. So it connects the different parts like muscles to bones. It supports the organs. It also protects and strengthens the body. It is made up of cells, namely fibers like collagen, elastin, reticulum, and also ground substance. Together these form the extracellular matrix. So coming to the tendons. So tendons, these are the type of connective tissue structure. So these connect muscle to bone. So these are the strong rope-like structures that are made up of dense connective tissue. So what is the structure of a tendon? So how it is composed or how it is made? So it is made mostly of the collagen fibers type 1. So type 1 collagen is very strong. It gives tendons their toughness. So it is arranged within the parallel fiber arrangement. Nothing but the fibers run in the same direction. Parallel is nothing but same, right? So this gives tendons very high tensile strength. So they can also handle pulling forces when muscles contract. So poor blood supply. Tendons don't get much blood. So they heal slowly after the injury. And then tendon sheath. Tendon sheath, it is a protective covering around the tendons in the area where a high friction is there. So it helps to reduce the rubbing between tendon and surrounding structures. At the right side, you can clearly see a picture of tendon, how tendon is attached to muscle to bone. This is the muscle, this is the bone, and this is the tendon, the white color one. Okay. So what are the functions of the tendons? So they transmit force from muscle to bone, that is they produce the movement, and they also helps in maintaining the posture. Okay. So next is ligaments. So what are ligaments? These are the strong connective tissues that connect bone to bone at joints. So remember, tendon is a muscle to bone, whereas ligament is bone to bone. So what is the structure of the ligaments? So it is made up of collagen and also the elastic fibers, where this collagen, it gives strength, whereas elastic fibers, it gives the stretchiness. So this is more elastic than the tendons. So this allows small movements within the joints, and also these ligaments, they prevent bones from the dislocating. So they prevent the bones, they help the bones from dislocating. So poor blood supply, like tendons. These ligaments have the poor blood supply, and they are at slow while healing after the injury. So what are the functions of the ligaments? They stabilize the joints, nothing but they hold the bones together. So joints do not move too much. Okay. They also provide the joint integrity. So they keep the joint strong and aligned. So guide joint motion. They limit the direction and amount of the movement. For example, prevent hyperextension. So what are the examples of the important ligaments? ACL, PCL, MCL, LCL, and deltoid ligament of the ankle. So ACL is nothing but the anterior cruciate ligament. So it is present in the knee. So PCL, the posterior one, it is also present in the knee. MCL is medial and L is lateral. Okay. Here is a picture. You can see both tendon and ligament. So tendon connects muscle to bone, whereas ligament connects the bone to bone. So tendon, it helps in producing the movement, whereas ligament, it helps in providing the stability. And the other connective tissue structure is the cartilage. So what is a cartilage? It is a firm, smooth, flexible connective tissue. So you can think of it as a cushion or a shock absorber between the bones. So it is found in within the joints. It is found within the respiratory passages and also the developing bones in the children. So what are the cells of cartilage? So chondrocytes are the cells which are present in the cartilage. So these are the main cells of the cartilage. They sit in a small spaces called as lacunae, and this is the picture of the cartilage. Here you can see the ligament, cartilage, synovial fluid, synovium, and a bone to bone. So this cartilage is always a slow healing, and it has no blood vessels, meaning that our nutrients reach cells very slowly. So these cartilage injuries take longer to heal. So unlike muscles or bones which have a rich blood supply, this cartilage couldn't heal faster. So there are three types of cartilages: the hyaline cartilage, fibrocartilage, and also the elastic cartilage. So what is a hyaline cartilage? This is the most common type. So what are the key features? Smooth, glassy appearance. It also has a very low friction. It helps bones to glide easily. So this covers ends of the bones inside the joints, nothing but the articular cartilage. So what are the functions of the hyaline cartilage? It reduces the friction, it absorbs the shock, and also it supports the structures like the trachea. So what are the examples of the hyaline cartilage? You can see articular cartilage, which is present in the knee, hip, and also the shoulder joints. Tracheal rings, and also the costal cartilages, which connects ribs to the sternum. Okay, so this is about the hyaline cartilage. Next, fibrocartilage. So here you can clearly see a picture, a comparison between the hyaline cartilage, elastic cartilage, and fibrous cartilage. So fibrocartilage, what is it? So it is the strongest type of the cartilage. Okay, so this contains the thick bundles of collagen fibers, which are the type 1 collagen fibers. So why this is the strong? Because of this collagen fibers. Okay, because of this collagen fibers, so this gives the high tensile strength. So it resists the compression and also pulling forces. So this makes the fibrocartilage as the strongest type. So this is found in the places that experience the heavy pressure or the shock. So what are the examples? The intervertebral disc between the vertebrae, menisci, which is found between the knee shock absorbers, and also the pubic symphysis in between the hip bones. And the third type of cartilage is elastic cartilage. So the name itself tells you this cartilage is made with the elastic fibers mixed with collagen. So this is much more flexible than other types because it has a quality of stretchability. So why it is flexible? Because of this elastic fibers allow it to bend and spring back to original shape. So where it is found? It is found in the outer ear and also in the epiglottis. So what is the main function of the elastic cartilage? It maintains the structure of the cell. So it also allows the flexibility of the muscle. So this is about the elastic cartilage. That's it for today's session, guys. This is about the muscles of different areas like upper limb and lower limb, and also you have learned today about the connective tissue structures like ligaments, cartilages, and tendons. So I hope this session has helped you. So in the next session, you will be able to learn about the physiology of the musculoskeletal system. Thank you.